So you've spent a considerable amount of time in developing a lead generation program with some nurture streams. How can you be able to accelerate those leads into MQLs and SQLs by leveraging a omni or multi-channel approach with inbound support? And so today I just wanted to share a very high-level example of what we share and how we help clients be able to accelerate the leads into MQLs and SQLs further into the funnel, and how to get them to interact a little bit quicker, a little bit more responsive with the pieces of content that you have within the nurture stream. But before we get started, there's 4 things that are needed before you begin this basic best practice to support these nurtures. So the very first thing you need to have is you need to have URLs for all the steps in the nurture system. That includes the landing page URLs, and so traditionally we'll get down here in a second. You'll see a traditional landing form with a video and our form and thank you page, and past that any of the other pages that are within the nurture stream, you also need those URLs. The second thing is to have somewhat of a priority assigned to the steps, and so obviously the first most important step is to get them into the funnel. So that's that landing page and that success page. And then as you identify, maybe in your nurture stream you have a quiz, or maybe you have a survey or a webinar replay that they need to engage with and watch, and essentially to prioritize out in what order that those should come into play as they're happening within the nurture stream, so you can be able to mirror those with the inbound channels, which we'll look at here in a moment. Number 3, UTM tracking. If you're not leveraging UTM tracking, it's a great time to start. It's a great way to be able to look into your analytics to see where maybe along these streams and these re-nurturing or these remarketing supportive for these MQLs and SQLs, where maybe there are gaps in the funnel. And then the last one are to be able to have tracking pixels from all your marketing platforms. So that would include like your Google ad platform, Bing platform, if you're using like a Gemini as well, and then any of your social platforms. If you're using Twitter, having a Twitter pixel, LinkedIn, Facebook. At a bare minimum, I'd suggest 5, and those 5 being your Google ad pixel, or creating a Google ad account to get those pixels, a Bing pixel, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Those are the big 5 that I'd suggest that you always have. And so then we get right down into what a campaign looks like, and the background and the setup on how to structure this. And so it does not matter specifically. So each of these each of these dots here represent these channels that drive traffic into the very top portion of these campaigns, which, as we talked about, are primarily going to be lead generations. And these lead generations, they'll either have a form, or maybe yours will have a little bit more of an engagement with the video with a form. The one thing that's important that we want to call out is the tracking pixels from whichever platform you've decided upon. They need to be placed upon every single page. So the landing page, the success page. And then further on, if there's a success page into the nurture stream, they need to be placed on every page. That can become quite a bit of code and quite a bit of scripting to add into the head of each of these pages. So best practices would be to utilize a tag manager. There's several out there. Obviously, one of the most popular ones and free ones is the Google Tag Manager. So once you have those pixels placed on all the pages, now you're set up moving forward before you even launch the campaign to start tracking from an inbound side who is reaching which specific path in this stream. So let's walk through this really quick. So the very first thing is you have your channels, your marketing channels, which are driving your targeted users, whether that's by keyword, persona, audience, all the different ways that you can be able to drive traffic to your top of the funnel, which is these lead gen forms. As they complete the form, this is the end goal, then they come to a success page. And so now you can start to see why the tracking pixels are very important. From your agency or from the inbound marketing side, if they do not reach this success page, then the inbound marketing does not stop at this point driving them back to that top level page trying to get them to convert. If they do complete the form on either one of these types of landing pages and come to a success page, At that point, as you know, they're placed into your marketing automation platform, and they start to become active in that nurture process to receive those emails. At that point, you can set up your inbound channels, and so think about those 5 big remarketing pixels to set up these remarketing cadences. And it's an if-else statement. So if they do get to the success page, and if they do not visit, say the first step is a blog post the next day, they do not visit the blog post, then what we can do, so you can see they come in through here, they're into the marketing automation. Day 1, they receive from your marketing automation platform a nurture, sending them back to a blog post here. If they do not visit the blog post, and or if the action is not completed, say the action for this specific thing was they needed to click a button to get them a little bit higher score within your marketing automation platform. So the traffic would then drive back to this blog post. And so there's a little bit more work in setting up creatives, in making creatives that will mirror specifically what your nurturing is doing in your marketing automation platform with these inbound channels. The benefit of this is now all of a sudden this campaign has become an omni-channel or a multi-channel campaign in not supporting the lead, because we already know who they are. We've already identified them through these statements, right? If they fill out the form, then they're placed on, so on this right hand side, we'd call this the next step they need to receive is the blog post, and they do not leave this specific list or this audience until they visit the page or they do the interaction. So whatever, this comes back to those priorities, so whatever the desired outcome is. And then so on and so forth, you go down, maybe day 2 or 3 or 4, they receive a survey. And the same way, if they receive that survey and they do not interact with that, then we want to drive that traffic back. And it's the great thing about looking at it and thinking about it in this way. How many times when you personally receive an email, do you think, oh, I'm going to save this and I need to come back and check on it later? I'm guilty of that. Several times every day I find very interesting content, and I will tell you the ones that are successful in getting me to engage with the content and furthering down the information process are the ones that have these type of campaigns that set up to where maybe I'm on Facebook or LinkedIn adjusting some ads, and when I go out to the stream I will see an ad reminding me of an email that was sent that I need to go back and check out a blog post, or I need to come back and check out a survey. And so now all of a sudden you can see that the nurture stream continues to go on how it always has, but now you have a smart inbound remarketing channel and a re-nurture channel, as it would be called, that would be driving those users back to those specific actions. The biggest benefit here is you're going to be paying pennies on the dollar to get them to come back to re-engage with this. And it goes on and so forth. However many steps are in your nurture funnel, this is where you have these remarketing pixels set up. If they visit the blog post and they do not click the button, keep showing them the blog post. After 3 or 4 days, if they then receive their survey, then the cadence can move on. So the next thing that they need to see after they've seen the blog post or clicked on the button is they need to see the survey. And so now you're no longer going to lose them if they're not coming back to this very specific email that's being sent out, or this nurture stream that's being sent out. Now they're going to see it in the email. The next day they'll log in to Facebook. They'll see it in their timeline. Hey, maybe you forgot to click on this button to download your free cheat sheet or your free whatever it is on the blog post. The next day they log into Twitter and they say, oh, I forgot to complete the survey. You had a question. I definitely wanted to participate in that so I could get my output. And so now you're constantly reminding them in a multi-channel environment. And like I said before, it's essentially pennies on the dollar to be able to get them to come back to these actions. And so that's why the screen here represents a multi-channel approach here. And so obviously this continues on all the way up until purchase or until they become a client, and then moving more to an internal onboarding type customer approach system. So this is a very basic way and approach to be able to take all of the information that you're gathering up front, and instead of then saying, hey, now that they're in the map and in our marketing automation platform, they're responsible, and inbound or the agency continues on to drive net new leads. While that will always be important, how much more critical would it be to your organization if you could be able to shorten the time frame down from the landing page form fill all the way to when they become a member and they become onboarded to move further into that funnel. So those are some of the best basic practices that we try to implement when we're looking at different marketing campaigns to drive leads deeper into the funnel as an MQL, SQL with the support of inbound channels. What other ways are you leveraging multi or omni-channel with these type of tactics? I'd love to hear any other creative or inventive ways that you and your team are leveraging inbound channels to support these nurture streams to get better, more qualified leads, MQLs, SQLs, and customers, and ultimately being able to deliver the best value to these customers to where they know that it's a great fit. All right. Any questions, comments? Let me know. I would love to hear what everyone else is doing. Have a great day.